Good morning. My name is Tracy Trypuc. Welcome to Your Health Matters. Our discussion today will be about public health issues and environmental health issues in Suffolk County. And now I would like to welcome my guest, Legislator Monica Martinez from Suffolk County Legislative District 9. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I appreciate it. Monica, you became the first female to represent the 9th District of Suffolk County on January 2nd, 2014.
I did.
That's very exciting, and I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
You did hit the ground running, literally. You were very busy as soon as you became in office, and you haven't stopped since.
No.
And you were very busy all over your district supporting, communicating with organizations and initiatives. We easily could talk about all of that, and the show would not be over. We could be here for a week. But when we spoke earlier, we decided we would focus on 3 issues, and now, of course, there's another one that were very important to you and your district. The illegal dumping at Roberto Clemente Park in Brentwood, the 2015 Women's Health Forum that you are hosting this Saturday, and the Teen and Parent Summit on Gang Prevention that you are also hosting in April. So as I said, you were sworn in and became very busy as a legislator in the 9th District, and then the illegal dumping became in the Roberto Clemente Park became known. And it was a truly sad and upsetting day for the residents in your community. What was your initial reaction when you heard about this?
Oh, it was very upsetting, and to tell you, the rumors of the dumping actually started in 2013, prior to me coming in, and the town had been notified then. The town of Islip had been notified back in 2013. When I entered in January, I received several phone calls, and one of them happened to be about Roberto Clemente Park. It had just snowed. We had one of those major snowstorms, and we had children in Clemente Park sliding down the infamous hill, the great hill that we have there. And I received a phone call, and I knew that there was debris there. So I went and I checked it out, and it just happened to be that a park ranger was directly behind me, and we saw all these children just sledding down this hill. And I asked the park ranger to please help me out and get these children out of here, because you could see the mound of debris covered with snow. And that was January 23rd. And I sent over pictures to let them know what was there, and the park was closed immediately after that phone call made. The following day, the children are back in the park again, sledding. Again, called to inform them of this, and the park closed for a couple of weeks while that debris was removed. But then I received another phone call that there was additional debris in the far end of the park, the soccer field. And when I went to check it out, sure enough, there was broken glass. There were just garbage. To tell you, there were even used sexual products in there. And it was just clearly unsafe and unsanitary for our children, residents of Brentwood. And then that's where the investigation began. The Department of Environmental Conservation became involved. The district attorney became involved, and a thorough investigation was conducted, which resulted in the park being closed in May.
And as I mentioned to you, at that time, I was taking an environmental health class for my master's degree. And so I went down there and I took a lot of photographs myself. I was using it for a research paper that I was writing on toxic dumping and especially, asbestos. So I have some photographs. Mike, do you have some of those? Could you show the one where it shows the park, and then there's another one where it shows that it's closed? It's up, okay. And so while I was writing my paper, I came across this quote, and that's what really kind of spoke to me, because when you see a park, you expect to see children and families playing in there. And so the quote that I have here is, "The silence of a shut park does not sound like the country silence. It is tense and confined." And that was from Elizabeth Bowen. And that's what reminded me of it, because, you know, there was somebody guarding it. It was all fenced off. There were all these signs, and you couldn't get access to it. And I thought, you know, the people that had done this were now keeping something closed and away from the community that should have been allowed to use it. And how did that affect the community?
Well, the park had, the prior year, 2013, it was open, but the pool was closed because it was for under renovation. So little by little, we start seeing this park, just seeing that sense of unused, not taken care of, you know, that feeling that the kids aren't really there. And when the park wasn't available for the children to use in terms of the pool, they had to go to surrounding neighborhoods. So that was the first indication that our children were not having access to this park. And then when the park closed indefinitely, as of right now, the community was just a sense of a loss, because this was a park, the only functioning park in the 9th District. We have little pocket parks, but they aren't really conducive for play or things of that nature. They're parks, and they do have the swing sets, but they're not viable parks, whereas Clemente Park was. And it was the only functioning park in the 9th District. So now the children and families don't have a park, it's that sense of a loss. And they were very upset, because they said, why and how could this have happened? Why was this allowed to happen? Why is it that the one thing that we did have functioning for our kids is no longer available for our kids? So it was a hard hit. And I went to that park as a child. I used those swimming pools. I used to take my nieces and nephews to that park. They learned how to swim at Clemente Park. And it's a token of appreciation for many who have been living there for decades. I have this constituent who is about 80 years old. She herself was the lifeguard at Clemente Park, and she really took this hard, because she said, I worked there, I went as a kid there, I taught others how to swim there, I saved lives there, and it was very upsetting. So it was definitely a loss to the community, a sense of loss.
So what do you see there? You know, the park is still closed. What do you see going forward? Do you see an anticipated reopening anytime soon? Is the community having input in what is, you know, in the bidding process and you know, the plans for the future?
Honestly, I can't tell you the anticipated start date, but it's definitely not this year. I do not foresee the park opening this summer, but so I am trying to make alternative plans for our children to have this summer, just as I did last summer. But in terms of the bidding process, the community does not have a say. It's closed. We do have a Roberto Clemente working group, which was part of the DEC's recommendation that the community needs to be involved and needs to have input in there. So they do have a meeting once a month where the working group comes into town hall, and they sit and they discuss the current results, what has taken place so far in terms of what the town is doing, and then they're kept abreast of, you know, step by step of what the town is doing. So the community has an input, but it's a select few that have been chosen to be on this working group. And then I unfortunately cannot attend, but because it has been only for community organizations and not elected officials. But I then have those that represent the working group come back and disseminate the information to me, so then I can then disseminate information to my constituents. But that's the only participation the community has is attending these working groups.
Okay. All right. And so at least you're keeping the dialogue, flowing, and,
Yes.
and your constituents know what is going on. And you said that you will be able to provide some resource for them for this summer.
Yes. Last year we did the Summer Youth Connection in collaboration with PAL, NYIT. We also had, obviously, our Suffolk County Executive Steve Pallone. We had Assemblyman Phil Ramos, the Vannettes. It was a collaboration of different organizations, and we opened the NYIT facility in the evenings. And we had different organizations, basketball, we had arts and crafts, we had
That's
Zumba, we had a little bit of everything to entice our children to come in. And we did it in the evenings so the parents could bring them.
Also, okay.
So, because they work during the day, and so when they came home from work, they were able to bring their children to NYIT, and they were there for at least 2.5 hours and enjoying the summer.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, so we're trying to do the same thing again this year, and just trying to find alternatives for our children this summer. Because you know what happens when a child is bored.
Yeah.
They may get into situations that they may not be able to get out of. So we're trying to find them. We're trying to find areas where they can go, have a good time, and be safe.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best with that.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now you sponsored legislation, a local law to bar environmental polluters from conducting business with Suffolk County. It passed through the legislature, and County Executive Pallone signed it into law on July 3rd, 2014. Can you please explain to the viewers what the intent of this law is?
Yes, so the law was in existence. We amended the law. I amended the law. For example, as you have heard, there are 6 individuals who have been indicted and charged for this crime. And if they are to be found guilty by the court system, they will no longer be allowed to work in Suffolk County. So if they are found to be guilty of illegal dumping of any hazardous material, this law now bars them from working in Suffolk County.
Okay.
And the intent is, if they did it once, they may do it again. And we need to make sure that our health obviously matters. And we need to make sure that those that are guilty are held accountable. And if they did do it, they need to be held accountable and no longer work in our county.
Right. Okay, excellent. So you have had to deal with a lot of difficult public health and environmental health threats within the beginning of your office. So I want to applaud you for your quick and decisive response to inform the residents and to demand appropriate action to protect their health and to continually keep them informed. So let's move on now to Mike, if you could put up that graphic, the 2015 Women's Health Forum you are hosting this Saturday, March 28th, from 10 to 12 p.m. This is a free community health fair at Shepherd's Gate Academy. Could you please tell us about this health forum? I understand there are going to be some tests and screening and health presentations.
Yes, this is the second one. My first one obviously was last year. This is my second. And it's free. It's something that I felt was very important, and we do it in March for Women's History Month. And it's really just to allow women to come in and take care of themselves. Because as you and I know, we women multitask, and sometimes we forget about ourselves and our health. And as many of us also know, that the women's health is what drives our community as well. So if we women become ill, the family also suffers from that. And this health forum is to educate our women of the different services that are out there in our community, in the county. And we're going to focus on prenatal care, which is something very big, where many do not go and receive prenatal care. And then we see the effects of the child needing services later on. But so we have that. We have diabetes screenings that in my community is actually very high in the Hispanic community and African American community. Diabetes is a prone disease, and we're trying to educate people on how to take care of themselves if they do have. We also have cancer screenings, and it's just another way to allow women to just take time for themselves, come and see what resources are available, and hopefully learn something from this health forum. We have several presentations. We have Family Service League coming in. We have Southside Hospital that I work in conjunction with because we have the Brentwood Health Center. And it's just, again, it's just something to help women understand what resources are out there for them.
That's wonderful. Well, I wish you very much success for this important health forum because, as you said, the women are very important because usually they focus more on their husbands or their children and their jobs, and oftentimes they overlook their own health.
Yes.
So it is very important.
Guilty.
Okay, and there's another event. If you have that graphic, could we have that up, please? You'll be hosting a teen and parent summit on gang prevention in Brentwood on Thursday, April 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. Could you please explain to our viewers about this event?
Yes, so the other passion of mine, aside from women and taking care of the constituents, is children and our young adults and our teenagers. This past 3 weeks, we've had parent conferences and parent workshops, and we have dealt with different topics that our children may be facing that our parents may not be aware of. And in my community, there are parents that work multiple jobs and at times don't even get the chance to sit down and have dinner with their children. And I think it's very important that we educate our parents so they can also help their child. And one of the things that we see in our not in our district ourselves, but in terms of nationwide at this point, is bullying. We see drugs, the use of drugs. We see what's going on with Common Core and teacher evaluations. And we need to inform our parents of what's taking place with their child in the event that they may not know. And one of the topics that parents are very concerned with is gang and the possibility of their child considering entering one. My office took the initiative of putting together this summit, not only for parents, but for teens. I think the parent and the child need to be there together. I think the family, to me, is the utmost important foundation to a successful life.
Yes.
To this day, I have dinner with my mother at the table, and I'm not allowed to have my phone at the table because she yells at me and she says, "Put it away." And I respect that.
Yes.
Because it is that communication that I've had with my mother, my father, my family at the dinner table that has led each and every one of us to have a successful career and life. And I think parents need to focus on their child and what might be affecting them a little more. And this this gang summit is really just to educate parents on signs to look out for, the way a child may be acting, behaviors, whether at home or in school, and just to give them that knowledge, that information, just watch out for this. And we have one of our confirmed presenters is the Honorable Judge Camacho, Fernando Camacho, who deals with the teen courts, and he sees many of the young individuals, men and women, who come in through his court system, who may have become involved in gangs. And one of the things that we're trying to do in Suffolk County is reduce the crime that is committed by our juveniles. Right. And instead of incarcerating them, let's find alternative plans for them. And before they get involved too deep, let's try to help them and find ways to assist them so they do not get lost and we can't get them back. So that's what this summit is for.
That's excellent. I know I agree with what you're saying. I mean, communication is so very important. And the sooner that you can start that communication and not be multitasking, even if it's not around the dinner table, but whatever it is, even if you're going for a walk with your child, but you're communicating with your child and you're not talking to your child and talking on your phone or texting,
Yes.
whatever, because it's that time together where you're looking at each other, eye to eye. It's those moments where you are together and then something sparks a conversation that you can't force a conversation to happen. Just because you're spending an hour together. But it's that spontaneous conversation that occurs because you are spending time together and not thinking of 50 other things.
And it can't be those questions, how was your day?
Right.
Good. How was it? It has to be a dialogue. It can't just be a question where a child can answer yes or no. Get them to speak. Get them to talk to you. And like you said, the communication is so important.
And the more that you communicate, then the more you can pick up on signs that there are changes
Yes.
that are occurring.
Agreed. So that's what the purpose of this summit is for.
All right, that is great. So you have this one other issue, if we could briefly discuss it, the scrap metal facility.
Yes.
That they're trying to bring in.
Yes. Another battle. And this one in particular has been very upsetting to my constituents, and it's because we're currently dealing with Roberto Clemente Park. And just to go back in terms of the legislation that I had sponsored, there was another one that I sponsored to get Suffolk County Department of Health involved in testing the waters as well, and including in drilling wells so we can have another set of eyes and tests to conduct the samples of our waters. But with the scrap metal facility, people were feeling we're not even done with Roberto Clemente Park. We just found out that 50,000 tons of toxic debris was dumped in our park, and now you want to bring another type of garbage site dump, whatever you want to call it, to our neighborhood. And their feeling is, and I sympathize with them. I live there. I not only sympathize, but I empathize with them. And they're like, why is it always us? Why is it always Brentwood? Why is it always Central Islip? Why is it that everything comes here? And I'm glad they're speaking up. I'm glad they're waking up, excuse me, and asking these questions. And we just had a town board meeting last night, which I was not able to attend because I was at the State of the County address last night. But it's, what is this facility going to do? What is it going to bring? Is it going to bring odor? Is it going to bring noise pollution? That area where they want to put this this plant at will be located on MJ Boulevard, which prior to that being there was a garbage transfer site which burned down. And Suffolk Avenue, west of Fifth Avenue, is very transient with trucks. And residents, all they see are trucks going by, and to them that's not a way to live. And they even said to me, so you see these trees, they're not even green because of the exhausts of the trucks that go by every single day. And it's about 100 trucks a day that go by down that residential area to that industrial site. And they're just upset, and they're pretty much saying, when is enough? So that's another battle that we're fighting. And I did write a letter of opposition. I will always stand behind my community and whatever they're feeling, and I will do my best to protect them as much as I can.
Well, I'm sure that they've come to the right person. I think that you'll probably have some success in this matter.
Thank you.
Well, do you have any final thoughts before we end the show?
I just want to say, thank you for inviting me. I know that health is a very important topic. I actually sit on the health committee as one of my 5 committees that I sit on as county legislator. And it's so important that we focus on improving our health because honestly, at the end, that's really all we have in order for us to continue living. And I just want to wish everyone a great weekend. and hopefully the sunny weather starts approaching because this snow and rain, and I heard it's supposed to snow tomorrow again, but I just hope the spring and summer come along very quickly.
Well, Monica, you've been off to a great start, and
Thank
perhaps you can come back at another time and update us on your progress.
It'll be my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to thank my guest, Suffolk County Legislator Monica Martinez from the 9th District. Thank you for the important work that you do on behalf of the public you serve. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Please tune in next week for another Your Health Matters with Tracy Trypuc for another discussion of public health issues. Have a safe and healthy day.